Okay, the next question from Dr. Carter is about Shakespeare, my dude. It is about Hamlet, which I chose on my list because Dr. Allen, I don't know if you're watching this, but you said to read this once a year, and so this is the next year since we read it in class, and I did it. So if that's not a few extra points, I don't know. I don't know what is, but anyway. So the question is, praises Shakespeare, that he is a dramatist that is able to create characters who display the complexity of human personality and behavior, and that is especially seen in Hamlet. And it asked me to discuss Hamlet, Claudius, and Ophelia in light of this judgment of Shakespeare's work. And so I think Hamlet is just a fantastic example of characters who seem to really battle between their head and their heart. Hamlet on his own is, an extreme case of this. He proves to be extremely complex in regards to playing all of, characters in past literature. The audience is able to see him move away from who he kind of used to be and see his personality morph into a young boy bent on revenge and justice. So you can tell there's kind of this discrepancy in character when every other character in the play doesn't quite know what is happening to Hamlet, and that's what they're all trying to figure out, and they're trying to do all these elaborate asks that they use Ophelia and his friends just to understand what's going on, just because it's so out of character for him, and you kind of see him slowly sink into madness in his long-winded dramatic monologues and explanations that he gives to the audience. And by the end of the play, he is far from the sweet prince and loyal son who was in love with Lady Ophelia. He then becomes a crazy man who seeks to avenge his father's murder and prove his uncle's guilt. He throws away all love he had for his mother and Ophelia both, and his true personality is not matching of his behavior, which really highlights the complexity that the question asks of this duality in individuals in Shakespeare's work. Ophelia is another really great example, as she, as most women, I think during Shakespeare's time, kind of have this internal battle between their loyalty to their father and their loyalty to their love for their husband, which Hamlet was not yet her husband, but I guess she hoped for that to be. So she is most definitely struggling with her devotion to her head and her heart throughout the play. As a good daughter, she must obey her father and do what he asks of her, even if by doing so she is exposed to Hamlet's cruelty and change of feelings for her. So when her father asks her to use her as kind of a piece to, understand what's going on with Hamlet, that ends up hurting her in the meantime, even though she's just trying to be loyal to her father. She can't come to understand what has changed in him or their relationship, and because of that, she does not know how to act either. She has this discrepancy between her personality and behavior. By the end of the play, her father is murdered by the boy that she thought she loved, and she is at an utter loss of the heart and mind and finds herself drowning in the river. And a big part of, her death is, was it intentional or not? Could she have, kept swimming, or did she just kind of let her, herself go? And I think that Ophelia at the beginning of the play just wouldn't have let that happen. Claudius is another example, but he's kind of just the worst, and he has a bad personality to begin with. But he has a really great behavior but he does that to hide his bad personality. And unlike the other characters, he knows how to hide it, and he's able to play the mourning brother, the loving husband, and the devoted king. You see his complexity in his sin against nature, not only by the sheer fact of murder, but in the killing of his own flesh and blood of his brother, and also just trying to conceal that. So while you see Hamlet and Ophelia kind of go insane, Claudius was already there, and you see how he behaves to cover up his crimes and maybe his madness that already existed. So they are all three characters were on definitely different planes at the beginning of the play, and towards the end you really see the complexity of, like the question says, of human nature, of human personality and behavior, and how they kind of just went through the ringer, and you see different parts of their personality that might not have been there to begin with. So yeah, very complex, very cool.